everybody. Welcome to SNU Sports Chat. I'm Zach Friesen.
And I'm Matt Scott.
And we are here to bring you a 2014 NFL football preview show from AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. We're going to start off looking at the quarterbacks this year, and there's a lot of great quarterbacks as there's every single year. Mm-hmm. And three of the best quarterbacks that are going to be on top of everyone's league is Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees.
Of course you have that because the offenses are so good and they always pass a lot and they barely run, so you're going to get the numbers you want if you pick any of those three quarterbacks in the first round.
And there's plenty of other stars you can get, sleepers throughout the league. Of course. Some of the biggest sleepers that you can have are, pretty crazy. You can consider Tom Brady to be a sleeper with that kind of offense. But
with the offense with the Patriots, he's a big sleeper and a sleeper that I would choose in later rounds, not early, because there's so many better quarterbacks than that. No offense to Tom Brady, but he's a good pick to have in the later rounds.
And are there any other quarterbacks that you would
one quarterback I would look at was Tony Romo. Now I'm not biased. The last 3 years, he's put up numbers over 5,000 yards, over 28 touchdowns. And with that offense he has, with Terrence Williams, Dez Bryant, Beasley, even DeMarco Murray, he's bound to put up some numbers this year.
I completely agree 100%. He gets a bad rep for his team struggles, but he's also why they're there in the first place. He's a very good part of that offense.
Granted, they're 8-8 every year, but they're still in every game.
Exactly. And that's one of my sleepers at quarterback is Andy Dalton. Mm-hmm. He gets criticized for not being clutch, but he's also been very consistent his first couple of years in the pros. In fact, his numbers at this point in his career are on par with Peyton Manning's numbers at that point in his career. And this year he's poised for another great year with weapons like A.J. Green, Tyler Eifert, Jermaine Gresham, Giovanni Bernard coming out of the backfield. He's got tons of weapons around him, and including a great defense that will get other teams off the field and keep that offense on the field.
One other quarterback you could look at is Robert Griffin III. Now, I know he was hurt last year, but with the acquisition of Deshaun Jackson for the Redskins and a full healthy Robert Griffin III, he's bound to have a great year. I think he wants to rebound off. He's mobile, he can throw, so he's looking for a huge year.
Absolutely. And now, moving on to the running back position, there are plenty of great running backs out there, highlighted definitely by a threesome of Adrian Peterson, LaShawn McCoy, and Jamal Charles. But then there's plenty of others like Matt Forte, Eddie Lacy, both going to be part of great offenses that are going to be moving the ball, scoring a ton of points. And like you said, DeMarco Murray, he's going to be playing very well.
Out of the backfield and running the ball, they're going to use him a lot. So he's a good pick to have in the earlier rounds.
And one sleeper that I absolutely love this year is Andre Ellington from the Cardinals. He had a great year last year, and he's a dual threat running back. He can pound the ball. He can run the ball very well, and he can also catch the ball coming out of the backfield. He's good for a couple touchdowns, about 500 yards out of the backfield. He's very good, very versatile.
One player to look at that's always been good. The last 3 or 4 years, his nickname is Skittles, Marshawn Lynch. If plays for Seattle, so if they give him the ball, there's no way, along with Russell Wilson's quarterback, that offense and that defense, they can go far and he can get a lot of fantasy points.
Definitely. And now we move on to probably the deepest position in the entire field of fantasy football, wide receiver. And there's no doubt who the top wide receiver is, Calvin Johnson.
Of course, it's
been so for years now.
When you have Matthew Stafford to throw, I'm expecting a lot of big numbers from him.
An offense that one-dimensional, not much running game, and when you're that much better than everyone else out there on the field, it's going to be easy to rack up numbers.
And of course, you have the A.J. Green from Cincinnati, which you talked about earlier. Dez Bryant, who's poised to have a big year. Even Julio Jones, who's wasn't very good last year, but this year I expect a lot from him.
Yes, and there's plenty of other great ones like Alshon Jeffrey burst onto the scene last year after a disappointing rookie campaign. Brandon Marshall lining up across the field from him.
That's a good group of wide receivers they have with those two, and I've seen them play before, and it's amazing to watch.
And the brilliant thing is you can't focus in on one without letting the other one get open.
It's going to be hard to guard them this year, but I expect big things out of both of them.
Exactly, and there's plenty of other great ones like Demaryius Thomas from Denver. He's got Peyton Manning throwing him the ball. You got Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers throwing them the ball.
One player that I've always liked, Wes Welker in the slot, especially with Peyton Manning. He's going to be hit a lot, even though he's questionable early. But I expect huge things because it's like a safety blanket. for Peyton Manning. Really.
It's just all depends on if he's able to stay healthy with all the concussion problems he just got when
that's gonna be the key to the season. I mean, I would draft him, but you gotta watch out because he's prone to concussions. So it's yeah.
And there's another wide receiver just like that, Percy Harvin in Seattle.
Yeah.
He's had multiple concussions throughout his career.
And you can do a lot of things. You can reverse. You can throw to him. You can even hand it off the backfield if you really wanted to.
And he'll even get you points on the kickoff
returns.
Yeah.
And he's fast. So yeah.
But just multiple weapons that you can have out there on the field.
Also, one person we have done is Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes.
He's always been big for the Cardinals. So I mean, it's especially with the quarterback. It's I mean, they don't have much for the Cardinals.
Right.
Except a decent defense. So I expect he's going to be targeted a lot, and he's also going to be double-teamed a lot, which they're going to have other players come up big for them.
And one player who can benefit from all those double teams on Fitzgerald is Michael Floyd.
Yeah.
Who's trying to make a name for himself with that offense. He's definitely got the tools, and he's going to have an opportunity this year to make a name for himself and establish himself among the good fantasy wide receivers. Yeah. And as we move on to tight ends, just like wide receiver, there's one player who's head and shoulders above everybody else. Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver playing tight end.
I agree with you on that one because you have the weapons around him. I mean, and he's tall, so it's hard to target him, and Drew Brees seems to find him everywhere. Mm-hmm. So, except he can't dunk anymore because that's a penalty. So, but I'm looking, huge, and I have him on my fantasy team, so.
I definitely don't think the penalties and flags and all that stuff. I don't think that's going to keep him from getting into the end zone.
He's still going to dunk over that goalpost.
There are plenty of good tight ends out there that can be picked up this year, like Julius Thomas with Denver. Again, Peyton Manning throwing him the ball, he's going to get his touches. There's Vernon Davis in San Francisco. Jordan Cameron, he made a big name for himself last year. And one player I'd like to watch this year is Rob Gronkowski. He's had injury problems the last couple of years. He hadn't been able to stay out there. But when he is out there, he's dominating just like Jimmy Graham has been. It's frustrating, but you just have to think that at some point in time he'll get back out on the field and get back to producing the way he has been.
It's going to add another weapon to Tom Brady's arsenal if he's healthy, and that's a big if because you never know. It's always a leg problem or a concussion. It's always something. But if he's on the field, it's going to be a huge lift for that team.
Definitely.
Another tight end I like is Jason Witten from the Dallas Cowboys, along with Des Bryant, who they're going to be double team a lot. Terrence Williams, have Beasley on slot. They're going to be hitting him a lot. If you need 5 or 6 or even a first down, you know where to find him, and he'll get you the first down.
Absolutely. At 6'8", he's a tough target to guard. So.
Yeah.
And now we move on to defenses, and there are plenty of defenses that have question marks, some that are a lot better than all the others. Mm-hmm. But it's just there's so much parity in the defenses. You've got a dominant defense like Seattle, they have the Legion of Boom in the secondary, creating all those turnovers, all those deflections, all that. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who are dead last and probably going to give up a record amount of points and yards this year.
With the losses of Sean Lee and other players like that and Claiborne, it's going to be bad for any Cowboys fan out there.
But there are definitely some good defenses out there that you can pick up.
Yeah.
You have Carolina Panthers. They have one of the best defenses in the league. San Francisco, they're going to be interesting to watch because they have all the talent out there. It's just if they can stay healthy. They have Navarro Bowman, who's going to miss the first couple of games, recovering from that knee injury he suffered in the NFC Championship.
Another team I'm looking at is the Denver Broncos. With a healthy Von Miller and acquisition of DeMarcus Ware, they're looking to stop any quarterback. They can rush the passer, they can intercept the ball, they can tackle, which is a huge thing in the NFL because not many people can. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to give up some points and give Peyton Manning time on the get Peyton Manning on the ball, and he's able to score some points. Mm-hmm. So Denver's looking to be real good this year.
And two teams that are kind of under the radar that I like are the St. Louis Rams. They have the great pass rush from Robert Quinn, Chris Long, all those guys. They can create a ton of points with sacks, tackles for loss, points allowed. They're great in that category. And also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have plenty of young talent, defensive front, secondary, it's all over the field. And they also just made a great hire as Lovie Smith, a great defensive mind. He's going to be joining the staff, and you can only imagine how much better they're going to be this year.
Yes. Some of them, you don't have – not every defense is good out there. For example, look, you talked about the Cowboys earlier, but the Eagles are one defense that I don't think they're going to be – they're going to be decent. They're not going to be too great. They're mostly focused on their offense with Folk and, all those receivers they have. But their problem is they're going to have to stop people on defense. Mm-hmm. because it's gonna be a long season if they can't do that.
Right. And the last category that we have to cover tonight is the kickers, and they don't get much glory, but they're definitely they can definitely be a key part of your fantasy team.
They can give you points if they make field goals. So.
Exactly, you can come down to a 1-point win because a kicker got you a field goal.
Yeah,
but some of the best kickers out there, you have to look at Steven Gostkowski. He's one of the most accurate ones in the game with the Patriots. Field goal. Exactly. Yeah. Justin Tucker, he's got a cannon on his leg, and also Stephen Hauschka for Seattle. He's definitely gonna get some chances.
Dan Bailey for the Cowboys.
He's very underrated.
He's accurate. He has a good leg. So,
and one pickup you can look at later on in the year is Matt Prater for the Denver Broncos. He was scheduled to be one of the best kickers in the league, but he got suspended, so he's going to miss, I believe, the first 4 games of the year.
So later in the
year, if you have your kicker on a bye, or if your kicker's not living up to his potential, you can pick him up on the waiver wire very easily.
One kicker with the accuracy is Mason Crosby for the Green Bay Packers. If you've seen him, he has the leg, he has the strength, and he has the accuracy. So I'm looking, he can get you some points this year if you draft Mason Crosby.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps things up for us here. We wish you all the best of luck in your mock drafts, actual drafts, and all your picks this year. And for the rest of us here at the crew, I'm Zach Friesen.
And I'm Matt Scott. See you on next week's edition of SNU Sports Chat.